right, Matt. Thanks very much. Well, in other news tonight, this is called the Subway Ring of Steel. It's a high-tech subway car with surveillance cameras that are already wired right in. Fox 5's Tiwa Chang tells us that if this is the wave of the future and when it's coming to New York.
The MTA plans to buy 290 more subway cars, similar to these E-trains, and equip them with video surveillance cameras. The cameras, which would be hidden in the ceiling, would only record, not send a live signal out. There's also an option to purchase 50 more subway cars with cameras if the budget permits. This comes nearly 1 year after Najibullah Zazi was caught before he completed a planned bombing of the New York City subway system. And as the police department continues its Lower Manhattan Security Initiative video surveillance system.
And it's like chicken soup. It can't hurt. You know, the more cameras we have, the happier we are. It is the goal, the intention of the MTA to link their camera feeds to our hub. And, you know, that's good. We support it.
While the police commissioner considers video surveillance cameras on subway cars a, quote, move in the right direction, the head of the New York Civil Liberties Union cautions, hold on, we have to have some guidelines before there's abuse of those images.
Even though you're out in public, we have a right to know and to have limits on how long material is being kept, who has access to it, what kind of protections are in place. We don't have any information on that.
Ms. Lieberman acknowledges video surveillance cameras can help solve some crimes, but insists the police department keeps pushing for wider use of cameras without considering privacy protection. The police are now completing electronic connections for live video from Grand Central Terminal, the 42nd Street subway station, and Penn Station to its Lower Manhattan Security Initiative camera system. Tiwa Chang, Fox 5 News.
Joining us right now for a more in-depth look at these subway cameras is security expert Tom Ruskin. He is a former NYPD detective responsible for crisis management. Tom, thanks very much for being here. You know, similar cameras already being used in certain areas of New York City. So how important do you think these new cameras are going to be in fighting the terrorism as well as crime, for that matter?
Oh, very important. Anytime you can put a surveillance system in a place where people are traveling or that you can gain intelligence, it's to the benefit of the police department and the riding public.
The police commissioner said that it's kind of like chicken soup. It can't hurt. Do you think this is a cost-effective system?
I think it's not only a cost-effective system. We know from past London bombings and from the Ring of Steel that surrounds London and the transit system, it's how they were able to identify the terrorists that hit them 2 summers, 3 summers ago, and were able to basically put the pieces together so quickly in the subways and the buses that were hit that July day.
And yet the question still remains how some of these images are going to be used. I mean, the ACLU is already raising certain objections to it and asking for kinds of guidelines about how long the pictures are going to be actually stored, how they're going to be used, what they're going to be used for.
Well, we know that if you're in public nowadays, there are surveillance systems filming you almost constantly in most of the major cities as well as New York City. I don't know what you're worried about if you're not doing anything illegal or you're not worried about something. You may have to go back 6 months, 9 months in a criminal investigation or a terrorist investigation to put things together, like in the Abazi case.
Okay, so is this more of a deterrent?
It's not only a deterrent, it's a crime-solving and intelligence-gathering way of having additional ways of protecting our riding public, especially if you're riding the trains at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. Wouldn't you like to know that you're being watched or that your crime may be able to be solved later on by that camera that's above your head?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, peace of mind is really what it's all about in some cases like that. Tom Ruskin, thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Thanks a lot for having me.
Well, there is